What's up, YouTube? This is Tunchi here, and I know it's been a while, but I really just had a lot on my mind when it came to this college football playoff situation. And I know my family members, my friends are getting sick and tired of me talking, so I was like, hey, why not just rant on YouTube? So here I go. I'm just going to talk to you guys like you're my friends. So this college football stuff is a joke. It's a complete joke. It's a complete disgrace to the spirit of sports, what they did to FSU yesterday. And I say this because as somebody who's played the sport before on a low level, but who's played sports, who loves just the competitive nature of sports, I believe that what they did is a complete slap in the face of what competitors go out there to compete for, to do, to earn. The best thing about sports to me is like, it's the only place where you really like eat what you kill. You go out there to prove your worth. You go out there every day. So no matter what anybody says, no matter what anybody writes, you can go out there and you go after it. You get after it, you win, and you prove yourself on the field. They stole that opportunity from FSU and those players. They stole an opportunity that these kids have played for their entire lives and will be thinking about for the rest of their lives. And I think it's a complete disgrace. And I understand by, I guess, quote unquote, the letter of their law. Like everybody I kept on seeing on Twitter was like, oh, the bylines show, like, if a player gets hurt, we can like calculate that into our ratings. Complete horseshit, honestly. Let's be real. It's complete garbage. Like, I understand that's like their rules, but it doesn't make sense. And I'll tell you why it doesn't make sense. If FSU went out there and used it with their third string quarterback and was still able to win and found a way to win, you do not have the right. You do not have the right to take away their opportunity from them, especially when you know that their quarterback has been injured for the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks or so, and you still had them ranked fourth. That just shows that you've been waiting on them to lose. You've been waiting on them to lose so you don't have to be put in a bad situation. And once you're in that situation, you guys were like, hey, might as well still, like, we still got to do it. It makes zero sense that an undefeated Power 5 team does not make it into the playoff, period. I do not care if there's injuries. It is not right. Those kids went out there and they tried their absolute hardest. They competed, and they won. And to rob them of that ability to go out on that field and play for a national championship is ridiculous. I don't care what anybody says. It's against the nature of sports. And everybody always says, like, well, is it the best four or the most deserving four? I'm sorry. That is a ridiculous statement. That is a ridiculous clause to even have when it comes to the committee. It has to be the most deserving every single year. I do not care if it's the best team. You have to go out on that field and win. That's how sports, that's what sports is about. You go out there to compete, to show that you're deserving. I can tell you right now, for the next 5 years, the teams that are quote-unquote the best teams in the country. I can name the 4 best teams in the country for the next 5 years. Just based on recruiting, based off of history, it's going to be some kind of mix of Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State, and Clemson. I guarantee it's going to be a hodgepodge of those teams, maybe a few teams thrown in. But for the most part, that's probably going to be the top 4 to 6 teams for the next probably 10 years. So just to say like, oh, just because I think they're the best, that makes them the teams that needs to be in the top 4 is crazy. You have to, at a certain point, it's about what you deserve in sports. It's about going out there and competing. If it was literally, truly the best 4 teams in the country, it would be Georgia in there, and we all know it. We know it would be Georgia, it would be Alabama, it would probably be Washington, and like honestly, Michigan, who knows? J.J. McCarthy's been putting up the same numbers as that third string FSU quarterback, and no one seems to care. Like, who did Michigan play other than Ohio State? Real talk. And I'm not taking anything away from them because they deserve to be there too. They played who they played and they won. But I'm saying to take away FSU's opportunity to win and play on that court, on that field is an abomination. And honestly, I'm so tired of going on to ESPN and hearing people who are absolute sellouts and shills talking down about or bigging up the committee's decision. Stephen A. Smith does not know a thing about college football. I promise you. No offense to Stephen A. Smith. He just doesn't. He does not understand college football. The only thing he knows about college football is Alabama. He's the busiest man in sports. He knows the best teams and he watches the highlight teams, but he don't know sports. Let's be real. He knows a specific type of sport entertainment. Kirk Herbstreit is a sellout. He is a shill. He is a hack. Let's be honest. Let us really be honest. The fact that he's paraded around talking about this is a good decision just shows me how lost Kirk Herbstreit is. It's an absolute joke. As somebody who played the sport at a high level like him, to sit there and tell those kids that they don't deserve the opportunity to at least try and fail on that field if they fail is ridiculous. You hear all these boomers and all these people talking about, participation trophies, these millennials, these Zoomers, participation is ruining the game. You know what's really ruining the game? People like Kirk Herbstreit and people like ESPN who we can tell it's all about the money. It's all about the money. They get mad at the college players trying to get NIL deals while the whole college football is a multi-billion-dollar corporation for years and years and years, where you have players who have made millions of dollars for their teams end up going to the league, breaking their leg, and being broke. And had no problem with that for years. And now we see it's really all about the money. They get mad at the players for being about the money when we know that these corporations are all about the money. There's no reason FSU should not be one of the 4 teams in the college football playoff. Period. End of discussion. Doesn't matter about injuries, man. Injuries are a part of the sport. Injuries are part of the sport. You're robbing that quarterback a chance to step up and become a legend. You're talking about 3 weeks, 4 weeks of coaching. The ability to go out there. You real talk, you don't believe with that defense, 4 weeks of coaching, they couldn't have go out and competed and possibly won against Michigan? Let's be honest. I know everybody wants to bring up, the committee didn't want to see another TCU versus Georgia situation. TCU last year earned their right to play in that championship. People conveniently forget that they beat Michigan to go up against Georgia. I understand they got beat down by Georgia. So what? That's sports. It happens. They earned that right to get beat down. They earned it. You have to earn your keep in sports, period. The fact that we're letting 13 people decide and choose about whose eye test the best is ridiculous. Everything should be about deserves. Because once you go into, who's the best by my perception, it becomes super biased. It's pure bias. It is pure bias, 100% bias. Alabama literally beat Auburn by a 31-yard Hail Mary at the end of the game against a 6-6 Auburn team. And just because they beat Georgia, and honestly, I'm a Georgia fan. Who did Georgia beat this year outside of SEC? Real talk. Let me keep it real. I'm not arguing that Georgia should have been in it. We lost to Alabama, plain and simple. It's an L. It's an L. And it's just we lost to Alabama, plain and simple. It's an L. We move on. But to then just say that Florida State has no opportunity to go out there and compete after competing and competing and competing and winning and proving people wrong week in and week out, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Simple as that. There's no point. There's no place in sports for this nonsense. And thank God next year is going to be a 12-team playoff. I don't even know, quite frankly, if I want to watch it. Just because I've seen this happen year in and year out. We've seen it since the BCS. We've seen it we've seen the committees and all these things just make up rules on the fly, essentially, to fit a narrative for certain teams that they want to see. They have a bias towards certain teams. SEC, we know this. I'm an SEC fan. I know there's a bias. It's a clear bias. ACC whooped our ass this year. And no one wants to talk about it. It happened. Other than Alabama and Georgia, the SEC hasn't really been it for a minute. There's some teams that come up, but there's some teams in every single conference that come up. Let's be honest. It's just not fair. At a certain point in sports, you have to earn your right to to compete. You have to earn your right to go into the championship games and win. And what we're seeing right now is a disgrace. They wanted Alabama to be in. We know it. SEC money, SEC eyes. Oh, the top team. Give me a break. Give me a break. They were trying to take Texas out, even though Texas has a head-to-head against Alabama because they're like, oh, it's the beginning of the year. Are we serious now? Is this really what we're doing? Is this really what we're doing? I'm also a Texas fan. You see the hat, like, you know, I love me some Texas, but it's just like I would have lost my mind if they put Alabama over Texas, even though Texas had the head-to-head. Not even gonna lie, not gonna hold you. That would have been insane. You go into Alabama and have a double-digit lead. You come out of Tuscaloosa with a double-digit win on the road, and then we get to the end of the year and people act like it doesn't matter because it was early in the year. I'm sorry, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? This is an implicit bias that keeps on getting perpetuated year in and year out. All I'm hearing now is like, oh, Alabama definitely showed they deserved it because they beat a undefeated UGA team, and UGA hasn't lost in 29 games, and they beat them. So, okay, so that fact helps Alabama. The 29 win streak helps Alabama to show that Bama's the best team or one of the best teams in the country, but it doesn't help UGA. I keep on seeing everybody being like, oh, it's not about what you did the year before. It's not about what you did about the year before or the year before that. It's about what you did now. But why is it that when Bama beats UGA, they somehow inherit Georgia's credentials? It makes no sense. It's not equal. It doesn't make any sense. And if we really want to get into the nitty-gritty about the game, let's talk about the 4th and 6 conversion that genuinely wasn't a conversion. That probably changes everything. That changes everything. Who knows what happens in that game? I'm going too much in the weeds. My real point is FSU was robbed of a shot to go out there and become legends, to go out there and prove that they belong. It's not fair. I don't care what anybody says about the committee. Their job is to pick the 4 best teams. That literally just adds bias. That just opens you up to your implicit bias. Because right now, I'm telling you, if I'm picking the top 4 teams, I can do that for the next 10 years off my mind. And I'm probably right. The next 4 years, I can literally assume, just based off of recruiting strength, who's going to be the top 4 teams in the country. That has nothing to do with it. You have to go out there and earn it. You have to go out there and win. And what you just did to those kids because a player broke his leg is flat out ridiculous. It's flat out ridiculous. They know it internally. You can't tell me Kirk Herbstreit, when he's over there shilling and going around and doing whatever the corporate BS that he's doing, you can't tell me internally he's not feeling like a sellout. You can't tell me he's not. Because you're robbing this kid an ability. You're robbing him a moment in his life where he could have gone out there and become a legend. God knows what could have happened when they went out there and played. FSU, honestly, FSU could have beat any of the teams in the top 3 if they made it in the top 4. Because that defense has been playing absolutely lights out. They have Keon Coleman out there at wide receiver, who's one of the best wide receivers in the country. I know the quarterback situation is kind of shaky, but there's a reason that quarterback's at FSU. You give him some coaching. You let him get ready for that team. God knows what can happen. Like I said, Michigan, J.J. McCarthy's putting up 150 yards a game. 150 yards a game. You're trying to tell me with a straight face FSU couldn't have given Michigan a game? Give me a break. Give me a break. This isn't fair. It's a disgrace. And it's literally a microcosm of a lot of things going on in sports right now. Let me not even get into what sports betting is doing with sports currently, which is literally a travesty, which is going to be a whole nother pandemic soon because we have people spending money that they don't have on things like FanDuel and all this other stuff. Let me not even get into that. But this is a microcosm of the problem in sports. At a certain time, I sound like an old head now, but back in the day, you had to go out and earn it. Guess you don't have to earn it anymore. Guess it's up to the eye test of some randoms. Like, give me a break. Give me a break. This is a joke. This is truly a joke. And it's just not fair. And it seems like Alabama's always on the benefiting side of these situations. Every single time. It's crazy. What can you do? I feel really bad for all those FSU fans out there. Genuinely not fair. Like, shout out to all the FSU people. I literally was like this close to go to FSU. Shout out to you guys. If I was you guys, I'm not even playing in the bowl game, honestly. But I know they will. It's money, it's recruiting, things like that. But if I was you guys, I'd probably boycott. I'd probably claim a championship. Why not? Quite frankly, no one, if you win against UGA, I'm still not hoping you guys will win. I'm sorry, I'm a UGA fan, Texas fan, Went to Texas, grew up in Georgia. It is what it is. But, if you guys beat Georgia, if that happens, if I'm you guys, I'm claiming the championship. No one can take that away from you guys. 14-0, beat up on everybody you played against. Why wouldn't you? It's not fair what happened to you guys. I'm real sorry about that. Keep the foot on the neck of ESPN and the people who are making these decisions, man. Keep it up. Keep it up. Go at Kirk Herbstreit in his comments, man, in Twitter. Y'all keep on doing it because this is a joke. Why not? You got to. These guys need to know what they did was wrong. And they know what they did was wrong. But they really, you guys need to let them know what they did is wrong. This can't happen. Hopefully the 12-game playoff will rectify some of these situations. But what a disgrace. What a disgrace. What an embarrassment. What an absolute joke. A travesty, all the negative things you can call it. It is what it is. This is pathetic. Alabama's a great team. Alabama, we know what Alabama is. No, nothing against them. They don't deserve to be there over FSU. Point blank, period. They don't deserve to go over Texas. They lost to Texas head up, straight up. I don't care if it was in September. It don't matter when it was. They lost at home to Texas. It is what it is. Just how UGA lost to Alabama and they were out. Texas beat Alabama straight up. They should have been out if it was a head-to-head thing. That's how it should be. It is what it is. You earn your keep on the field. You earn your keep on the field. Undefeated team. Another team has you head-to-head. The two other undefeateds, they earn their keep on the field. It is what it is. It should have been FSU. We all know it. This is a joke. This is a disgrace. I do not care if you're saying, I test the 4 best teams. Does not matter. Does not matter. This is sports. This is sports. Period. This is sports. You earn it. You earn it on the field. You earn it on the field, period. I do not care if you're saying, this is sports. Disgraceful what ESPN and the college football players do. That's all I got to say. All right, peace out, guys. That's really it. That's all the energy I have. Bye.